Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam overview class. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavansha श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. We are discussing from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and last time we completed 20th chapter, in which the description of Vrindavan forest was given by Shukdeva Goswami. How in Vrindavan summer also manifests the symptoms of spring, and then Shukdeva Goswami described about the rainy season and the autumn season of Vrindavan. And in that, Shukdeva Goswami compared various natural phenomena with some of the things which happen in the current world in our day to day life. And that's how he gave lessons for each and every natural phenomena. So that was the 20th chapter. So now we'll begin the 21st chapter, which is entitled The Gopis Glorifying the Song of Krishna's Flute. The famous Venu Gita will be described. Very beautiful, very famous verses come in this chapter. So, in this chapter, Shukdeva Goswami starts the description by telling that Vrindavan, which was full of fragrant lotus flowers because autumn season was there, so all the rivers were full of lotus flowers. So Krishna he entered this Vrindavan forest along with his cowherd boys. And as Krishna was moving in this Vrindavan, he was observing the beauty of Vrindavan. And he saw that all the various water bodies in Vrindavan, they were full of, lotus flowers. Because of the flowing of the water, it was a very wonderful sound which was coming. The waterfall, the moving river, moving water was creating very beautiful, very pleasing noise. And then this Vrindavan forest was full of bees and various types of birds and flowers, and so many different types of animals were there. So when Krishna he saw all this wonderful beauty of Vrindavan, he started playing flute. So Krishna is called by the name, described by the name Madhupati. So Shukdeva Goswami says he is Madhupati. So Madhu means spring. So Chakravarti Thakur writes Madhu means spring. And Krishna is the master of the spring season. And he started playing his beautiful flute. And what was the effect of this flute on the various objects and animals and the human beings, gopas, gopis, that will be described in this chapter. So now, when gopis they heard this beautiful, intoxicating flute of Krishna, some of them they came together and they started describing the wonderful qualities, wonderful, attractive, transcendental qualities of Krishna to their intimate friends. And the gopis, when they remembered the activities of Supreme Lord, their minds were disturbed by Cupid. So you have to understand, when Bhagavatam describes the gopis' feelings, how they are affected by Cupid, that is not an ordinary Cupid of this world. As it is described in the seventh canto also, Gopyah Kamad Bhayad Kamso Dveshyas Chaidyadayo Nripa Sambandhad Vrishnaya Snehad Yuyam Bhaktya Vayam Prabho. So Narad Muni is telling Yudhishthir Maharaj that gopis, they attained Krishna out of their lust by exhibiting lusty desires for Krishna. Kamsa, he achieved Krishna, he also achieved liberation by becoming fearful of Krishna. Bhayat Kamso. Dveshyas Chaidyadayo Nripa. Shishupal, he also got liberated because of envy. So this lust which is described here, it is not an ordinary lust of the world. It is transcendental. The lust of gopis and lust of this world is as far as the gold and iron. There is no comparison between the lust of gopis for Krishna and the lust of mundane boys and girls of this world. Because gopis' lust is only for pleasing Krishna. There is no sense gratificatory desire in that. Atmendriya priti vancha tare boli kam, Krishnendriya priti ichha dhare premanam. Anything, any desire to please our own senses, that is called kama. And any desire to please Krishna's senses, that is called lust. So gopis, their mind was afflicted by the desire to please Krishna, and they were so very overwhelmed that they could not even speak. They were stunned. They were trying to describe the qualities of Krishna, but just hearing this sound vibration of the flute, they all became stunned. So when the gopis, they could not speak, Shukdev Goswami, understanding the mood of the gopis, because Shukdev Goswami, Chakravarti Thakur describes that he is also omniscient. So Shukdev Goswami began describing the Krishna's pastimes according to the mood of gopis. And this very, very beautiful verse, very famous verse, is described, spoken by Shukdev Goswami. Baraha pidam natavaravapu karnayo karnikaram bibhradvasah kanaka kapisah vaijayanti chamala randhranvenum madhara sudhaya purayan gopa brinde vrindaranyam sapadaраmanam pravishad gita kirti. So now, as Krishna is coming from the forest, this is a vision which gopis are having when they are seeing Krishna returning from the forest in the evening. Baraha Pidam, Krishna is having a beautiful peacock feather in his hairs. Natvaravapu, it is described that when Krishna would go to the forest, Mother Yashoda would decorate him very nicely with all the pearls and jewels and nice garments, beautiful necklace, flower garland. But when Krishna would go in the forest, all the cowherd boys, gopas, they would do additional decoration. They would make the flower of Vaijayanti mala, Vaijayanti flowers. They would make garlands of Vaijayanti flowers, and then they would decorate Krishna. They would paint Krishna with forest minerals, and he was dressed in a in a way of dramatic dancers. Natvara. Natvara Vapu means dramatic dancer. Karnayo Karnikaram, and on his ears he had blue Karnika flowers on his ears. Bibhradvasaha, and he was wearing a beautiful, effulgent, dazzling yellow garment, dhoti. Bibhradvasaha. Kanaka Kapishaha Vaijayanti Chamala. Kanaka Kapishaha. The garment was as brilliant as Kanaka, means gold. Vaijayanti Chamala, and he was wearing a Vaijayanti garland, Vaijayanti Mala. And as he is returning, what he is doing? Randhran Venum Madhar Sudhaya Purayan Gopa Brinde. He's playing his celebrated flute. He's filling the holes of the flute with his beautiful sound vibration. Randhran Venu. Randhra means the holes. The holes of the Venu is filled with the nectarine, intoxicating sound of Krishna's voice. Randhran Venum Madhara Sudhaya Purayan Gopa Brinde. And then all the cowherd boys, they are following Krishna. And what they are doing? They are glorifying Krishna. Whatever Krishna did in the forest, he killed demons, he did so many wonderful things, how he played, how they danced. Vrindraranyam Sapadaramanam Pravishad Gita Kirti. They are singing the glories of Krishna, Gita Kirti. So that is the wonderful way in which Krishna is described here. So what happened to gopis? When they saw Krishna returning, they embraced each other out of ecstasy and they started glorifying the flute of Krishna. So Chakravarti Thakur writes that Krishna, as he was returning, he wore a Vaijayanti mala, and this mala was made up of 5 various different colors of flowers. It was not one color flower, 5 different flowers. And the gopis, sometimes they would criticize the flute. That, oh, just see, this flute have holes in it. So what Krishna was doing, Krishna was filling these holes with the nectar from his lips. Randhran Venum Madhara Sudhaya. The nectar from his lips were being poured in the holes of this flute. And the gopis, they would criticize, oh, just see this flute. It is non-living. But still he is getting a chance to touch the lips. And because the flute is being touched by the lips of Krishna, although it is non-living, it has come back to life. And therefore, the sound which this flute is creating, it is maddening the whole world. 3 worlds are being maddened. And therefore, gopis, they're saying that this flute, although it is unconscious wood, and unconscious things are not so capable of storing things. So although Krishna is pouring the nectar of his lips in this flute, because the flute is not able to store this nectar, that nectar of the lips of Krishna is flowing out from the flute, and it's permeating the whole world. Kaviraj Goswami describes very beautifully in Chaitanya Charitamrita what is the effect of this flute of Krishna on the gopis. When they hear the sound of Krishna's flute, what is happening to the gopis? कानेर भीतर वासा करे अपन तहाँ सदा स्फुरे अन्य शब्द ना दे प्रवेशिते आन कथा ना सुने कान आन बोलिते बोलाए आन ei Krishner vamshi racharite. So Krishna has various types of flute, Venu, Vamshi, all these different types depending on the length. Nectar of Devotion describes the various types of flute. So Kaviraj Goswami describes when this flute sound of Vamshi's sound enters the ears of the gopis. Kanera bhitar vasa kare. The flute sound resides in the ears of the gopis, does not go away. And it manifests newer and newer ecstasies. Apane taha sada sphure. And because the ear holes are filled with this nectar of Krishna's flute sound, Anya Shabda Nadeya Praveshite, the gopis cannot hear anything else. Anakatha Anashunekan, they cannot hear anything. Anabolite Bolai An, they cannot speak anything. Ei Krishnera Vamshira Charite, this is the glory of Krishna's flute. Prabhupada writes a very hope giving purport in that. He says, For a devotee, Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the flute sound of Krishna. Krishna's flute sound is Hare Krishna mantra. The more we fill our ears with Hare Krishna mantra, the more we will get entangled from the things of the world. The more we'll become detached from the things of the world. So very nicely, Prabhupada brings this esoteric thing down to a sadhaka level. How we can also experience this flute sound if we hear attentively, if we try to put our full attention, try our best to chant attentive rounds. That Hare Krishna mantra is nothing but the sound of Krishna's flute for us. Krishnera madhuravani amritera tarangini tar pravesh nahi hai shravane kanakadi छिद्र जानी हास्य श्रवण तारक तार जन्म होइला अकारणे. Kaviraj Goswami says, Krishnera madhuravani, the sound of Krishna's flute or the speech of Krishna, both Amritera Tarangini, they are like nectar. Tara Pravesh Nahi Ye Shravane. Anybody who does not hear the flute sound of Krishna or the speech of Krishna, beautiful words of Krishna, their ears, they are like the holes on a conch shell. Kanakadi Chidrasam Jani Hase Shravana. You should know that anybody who does not hear Krishna Katha, their ear holes are like the holes on a conch shell. Why did you take birth? Tara Janma Hoila Akarane. You should have died long back. So, therefore, the purpose of human form is to hear about Krishna, to glorify Krishna, to speak about Krishna. So, that is how these gopis, they are intoxicated and just stunned hearing the flute sound of Krishna. Then the gopis, they start speaking now. This is the beginning of the Venu Geet. From 7 to 19 verses, the Venu Geet comes. Akshanvatam phalamidam na param vidamah sakhyu pashun anuveshayatayor vayasyai vaktram vrajesha sutayor anuvenu jushtam yairva nipitam anurakta kataksha moksham. So gopis, they are saying, Akshanvatam. Akshanvatam means the perfection of the eyes. What is the perfection of everyone's eyes? Akshanvatam, the goal of the eyes. What is that? Is to see Krishna's beautiful face. There is no greater object for everyone's vision than Sakhyu Pashur Anuviveshatayor Vayasyai. The, the greatest perfection of the vision is to see these two sons of Nanda, Krishna and Balram, as they enter the forest. The greatest perfection is to see their beautiful face as they are entering the forest or coming back from the forest, surrounded by their friends, keeping cows before them. Vaktram brajeshu shutayor anuvenu jushtam. And as they are going to the forest or returning from the forest, what they are doing? They hold flutes to their mouths and they lovingly glance on all the residents of Vrindavan. That's how Krishna is so very expert in reciprocating with each and every Brajavasi, each and every living entity, each and every object, animate or inanimate. Yairvanipi tamanurakta kataksha moksham. Kataksha, just by the glance of Krishna, everybody becomes satisfied. So gopis, they are saying, oh friends, our senses, which Lord has given us, they will remain useless if we stay at our homes and just don't get to see the beautiful faces of Krishna and Balram. So let us leave our homes and go to the forest. They say, when we'll go to the forest, because Krishna will be with Balram and we cannot come in front. So what we'll do? We'll stay behind, hiding in the bushes. We'll see the beauty of Krishna. That is the inner meaning of this verse, which Chakravarti Thakur says. Then all the gopis, they glorify, they see the beauty of these two dramatically dressed, uh, dancers, dramatic dancers, Krishna and Balram. The gopis, they're dressed, they saw that the Krishna and Balram, they're dressed in various wonderful garments. They were wearing very beautiful multicolored flower garlands. They have peacock feather on his hair. Krishna is twirling a lotus flower in his hand, and as Krishna and Balram, they are going to the forest, they are shining very magnificently. So the gopis, they are saying, oh, we should not go away. We should stay here. We should go to the forest. We'll quickly have the darshan of Krishna and then we'll come back. So now please don't wait. We'll all should go. And this, then this gopis, they are thinking, oh, this flute, this flute has created a problem for us. What is the problem? This flute is causing us an ocean of disgrace. With this thought in the mind, the gopis, they speak this verse. Gopyah kimacharadayam kushalam smamenum damodaradhara sudhapi gopikanam bhunkte swayam yadavashishta rasam radinyo rishyatvacho shrumamucho taravo yatharya. Oh gopis, the gopis are talking to each other. They are telling, oh gopis, just see, kimacharadar, kya kaam kiya hai? What wonderful activity this Venu has performed. कुछ तो auspicious किया रहेगा है ना? What must what auspicious activity is this flute must have performed? What is happening? Damodaradhara Sudham. Array, this flute is getting a chance to drink the nectar from the lips of Krishna. Array, this nectar is belonging to us. Apigopikanam. Array, this is belonging to us, but this flute is drinking this nectar itself. First of all, flute is a masculine. Venu means masculine. Vamshi is a feminine, but Venu is a masculine. So gopis, they are telling, this flute is in a male body, but still he is drinking this nectar of Krishna's flute, which is belonging to us. Bhunkte swayam, he is tasting it completely and he is not leaving anything for us. He is just giving us some taste, some remnants. And just see, when his father and mother, flute's father and mother, when they are seeing the most auspicious position of their sons, they are overwhelmed. Rasam Radinyo. Radinya means the rivers. So the river is the mother of this bamboo. So this river, she is so very happy in jubilation, seeing the glorious position of her son. And the flute and this bamboo tree is the father. So the sap which is coming from the bamboo tree, it is like the tears which is shed by the father, by this bamboo tree. So the gopis, they are glorifying, just see the glory of this flute. What piety this flute must have performed. That he is behaving like Krishna's wife. Although in the male body, but still he is getting chance to drink the nectar of Krishna's flute. So this flute is most auspicious. Another verse, it is described in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Kaviraj Goswami says, Sadvamshatastav jani purushottamasya panao sthiti muralike saralasi chatya kasmat tvaya sakhi guru vishama grihita gopangana gana vimohana mantra tiksha. So in this verse, which is from Govinda Lilamrita, I think, so the gopis, they are actually criticizing the flute. Are Sadvamshatas, you have taken birth in such a auspicious family, Tavajani, are janam liya hai itne अच्छे कुल में. And what else? Purushottamasya Panasthiti. You are on the hands of Purushottama Krishna. You are so very simple, you are straightforward, not crooked. Flute is like a straight bamboo. But कस्मात, अरे आपने ऐसी दीक्षा क्यों ले ली है भाई? कस्मात त्वया सखी गुरो विषमा गृहीता. You have taken, why you have taken such a initiation, such a ghastly, sampradaya? What is that? Gopangana Gana Vimohan Mantra Dikshare. You have taken a diksha and you are, bewildering and intoxicating all the gopis. You are completely making them mad. So that is the glory of Krishna's flute. And then they say, Arey, what more can be said about the flute? Let us glorify Vrindavan. Vrindavanam sakhi bhuvo vitanoti kirtim yadevaki sutpadambujalabda lakshmi Govinda venumanumatya mayura nityam prekshadrisanva avaratanya samasta sattvam. Are Vrindavan, just see the glorious Vrindavan. Vrindavan is spreading the glory of earth. Vrindavanam sakhi bhuvo vitanoti kirtim. Oh friends, oh sakhis, this Vrindavan is the ornament on this earth. What is that ornament? Devaki sutpadambuja. When Krishna would walk in Vrindavan, he would not wear any slippers. So whole Vrindavan was covered with footprints of Krishna. Mother Earth was the one who got maximum association of Krishna, especially Vrindavan, because Vrindavan, Krishna was not even wearing any footwear. So therefore it is described in the first canto that when Krishna he left, Mother Earth was the one who was suffering the most. Kavasaheta viraham purushottamasya प्रेमावलोकुरुचिर स्मितवल्गुजल्पैः स्थैर्यं समानमहरन् मधुमानिनीनां रोमोत्सवं मम यदङ्घ्रिविटङ्कितायाः. So Mother Earth, she's lamenting, Kava Sahet, how can I tolerate the separation from Purushottamasya? Vrindavanam Sakhi Bhuvo, Vrindavan has glorified this earth to a extreme, to a superlative degree. All the Vrindavan is full of the footprints of Krishna. What else is there in Vrindavan? When Krishna plays his flute, you know what happens? Govinda Venumanumatya Mayura Nityam. Peacocks, they start dancing. Prekshadrisanva avaratanya samasta sattvam. And all the other creatures, when they hear the flute of Krishna, what happens? They become stunned. The living things become non-moving and the non-living things start moving. Stones melt and the trees and the birds and the animals become stunned. So Chakravarti Thakur describes a story that in Vrindavan, whenever Krishna would go, and the peacocks, they would come around and they would request Krishna, "Oh Govinda, please make us dance. Please play your flute and make us dance." So Krishna, he would also start singing and dancing and playing his flute in such a wonderful way that all the peacocks, they would become so very happy, they would start dancing. And just like, when a musical performer, he's done with his musical performance, he puts his hat in his hand and goes in front of all the audience. So Krishna, he takes his turban cloth and he goes in front of all the peacocks. And all the peacocks, as a gesture of gratitude, they give their choicest of feathers, most beautiful feathers. And Krishna, out of the honor, he would put this peacock feather in his hair. That is the glory of Krishna. When Krishna would play his flute, all the calves, all the deers, all the animals, doves, they would become so very ecstatic. They would relish such transcendental pleasure. They would not even move. निज सम सखा संगे गोगण चारण रंगे वृंदावने स्वच्छंद विहार यार वेणु ध्वनि सुनी स्थावर जंगम प्राणी पुलक कंप अश्रु वहे धार. whenever Krishna would go in the forest, Nij Samastakha Sange, along with his friends, why? Gogana Charana Range, to herd the cows. Vrindavane Swachanda Vihar, and he's roaming in the beautiful forest of Vrindavan. And what else he's doing? He's playing his flute. Whenever this flute sound falls in the ears of all the creatures of Vrindavan, what happens? Yarveno dhvani suni sthavar jangam prani, all the moving and non-moving living entities, they would start shedding tears. The river would become stunned. The fruits, the trees would stop moving. It will be described in great detail. What happens when Krishna plays his flute? And then the gopis, they see the deers. They see the deers and the doves, the female deers and the male deers. They are together and they have approached the son of Nanda Maharaj. So the gopis, they are telling, just see, these deers, they are so very blessed. Although they are foolish, they are ignorant animals, but they are so very blessed. Because, both these male deer and female deer, they are worshipping Krishna. And Chakravarti Thakur writes that male deer, when he sees Krishna, he, along with the female deer, both go and serve Krishna. So gopis, they are saying, just see, they are so very fortunate. Our husbands, they don't allow us to go and meet Krishna. So these deers are more fortunate. Our husbands, they cannot even stand the smell of his fragrance. And then the gopis, they say, what to speak of the glories of those who live in Vrindavan? Actually, how can one describe the glories of those who are flying in the sky? अरे वृंदावन में रहने वाले की तो बात दूर की है, और जो उड़ रहे हैं, they start glorifying the birds. And they say, and before that, they start glorifying the demigods. They don't stay in Vrindavan. They say the wives of the demigods, when they see the beauty of Krishna, they become so very intoxicated and inflicted with Cupid that their hairs become disheveled, their belts get loosened. And these wives of the demigods, they're also not alone. They are along with their husbands. So the demigods, they are so very decent. They are so very cultured. Whenever they go to see Krishna, they take their wives along with them. So therefore, they are also so very glorious. But our husbands, they don't allow us. For wives of demigods, beauty of Krishna is like a festival. Yasyananam makara kundala charu karna bhrajat kapol subhagassa vilasahasam nityotsavam na tatripur drishbhi pibantyo naryo narasya mudita kupita nimesha. It is described when Krishna is entering Mathura for the first time. All the ladies of Mathura, when they saw Krishna's beauty, they became so very mesmerized. Nitya Utsav, it was a constant festival for eyes of these Mathuravasis, and also the eyes of gopis and all the Brajavasis who were tasting the nectar of Krishna's beauty every day. It is described when Krishna was leaving Hastinapur, first canto. Rajmarge gate Krishne Dwarkayam Kulastriya Harmyanir Arurhurvipra Tadikshana Mahotsava. So when Krishna left Hastinapur and he was entering Dwarka, all the ladies of Dwarka, they wanted to have darshan of Krishna. They climbed on the rooftops and they were seeing the beauty of Krishna. It was a Tada Ikshana Mahotsava. Just looking at Krishna's beauty is a festival. So gopis are saying, "Arey, demigods are so very great. They are decent. But our husbands, they are so very envious. They don't allow us to go and meet Krishna." And the gopis, they say, one cannot say that bewilderment from the flute is generated only from the, conjugal desire of the females. Just see the cows and the calves, what they are doing. The cows and the calves, when they hear the flute of Krishna, with their upraised ears, the ears of these cows become like a vessel. And the cows become stunned. And the cows are drinking the nectar of this flute song. What happens to calves? Calves, as they are drinking the milk from the udders of their mothers, their mouth are still full with the milk. As soon as they hear the flute sound, they become stunned. They cannot move. So it is not our fault. We are not the only one who are afflicted with all these emotions. Somebody may say, but calves are material and they may be tasting material pleasures. The gopis, they say, what to speak of calves? Even Atma Ramas, they are also attracted by the flute of Krishna. Atma Ramas, they are fixed in knowledge. So they are also getting attracted. So therefore, the gopis, they out of affection, they call other, oh mother, as of affection, they are talking and calling each other as mother. Oh mother, just see these birds. The birds, they have climbed on the branches of the tree. Why? Because they want to see the beauty of Krishna's face. Or they want that Krishna should see them. So therefore they have climbed on the roof, on the branches. And birds, they are absorbed. With their eyes closed, they are hearing the flute of Krishna. Just like the sages who are absorbed in meditation on Krishna. These birds are like sages. With their eyes closed, they are hearing the beautiful flute song. Are what to speak of living beings? Just see the condition of the river. The river, when the river hears the flute of Krishna, you know what happens? Generally, the river goes to meet her husband, that is ocean. But when river hears the flute song of Krishna, you know what happens? The river's current start becoming agitated. Their a whirlpool starts there. They cannot move. They just stay there. And you know what happens? Giving up all their shame, their waves as their arms, they go and they want to touch the feet of Krishna, embrace Krishna's lotus feet. That is the condition of even the rivers of Vrindavan. And then Shukdev Goswami says that in this way, Krishna, as he was playing his flute, all the animate and inanimate beings, they expressed such emotions, such transformations. In Vrindavan, whenever Krishna would move, basically this was like summer season going on. So the clouds, when they would see, oh, Krishna is moving in sun, they would expand themselves. They would become bigger and bigger. And then even in the summer season, they would rain very fine droplets. We must have experienced sometimes before the rain actual starts, there are fine droplets. So these clouds, they shower fine droplets to give such a soothing sensation, just a pleasing sensation to Krishna. And they say, just see these aborigine girls of Vrindavan. They are not satisfied by the touch of their husbands, but they are satisfied by putting the dust which is being touched by Krishna on their chests. That is the glory of Krishna's lotus dust, the dust from Krishna's lotus feet. Are what to speak of Vrindavan's river, bird? Just see this Govardhan. They point towards Govardhan. And the very, very famous verse comes. Because they are thinking, oh friends, we cannot attain Krishna without taking shelter of Krishna's devotee. And just see, And one of the gopis, she says, I have heard from Gargi that this Govardhan is a chief of the devotees of Vrinda, of Krishna. So now let us go and take shelter of Govardhan. Now let us go and take darshan of the prominent deity of Govardhan, that is Haridev. We'll go and take bath in Mansi Ganga, and then we'll go and take darshan of Haridev. And they say, our elders will not be suspicious about this, because it is not only us we are attracted by Krishna's flute. All the entities of Vrindavan, they are attracted by Krishna's flute. Hantaya madrirabala haridasa varya yad Rama Krishna charana sparasha pramodaha manam tanoti sahago ganayostayoryat pani asuyavasa kandara kanda mule. So they are describing the glories of Govardhan. Hanta. Hanta means they are calling each other. Oh friends, just see this Govardhan. They point towards Govardhan because they were staying near Govardhan. So with their finger, they're pointing. Just see this Govardhan. This is Haridasa Varya. He is best of all the devotees of Krishna. Yad Rama Krishna Charana Sparsha Pramodaha. This Govardhan? This Govardhan is giving pleasure to Krishna and Balaram. When Krishna and Balaram, they walk on this Govardhan hill, the Govardhan hill, by the touch of Krishna and Balaram, becomes so very jubilant. It gives everything for the pleasure of Krishna and Balaram. What all things Govardhan gives? This hill provides, supplies Krishna and Balaram nice caves where they can perform their pastimes. They can stay there in rain, in sun. This Govardhan provides nice grass. Nice, wonderful trees are there on this Govardhan. There are beautiful streams of water, very crystal clear water is there in the waterfalls of Govardhan. The Govardhan is full of fruits and vegetables. So Govardhan, because he wants to serve Krishna so very wonderfully, he is manifesting everything. That is how the great Govardhan is. So Chakravarti Thakur describes Paniya. Paniya means the fragrant, cool water from Govardhan satisfies the thirst of Krishna. Whenever Krishna would go to the forest along with the Balram and other cowherd boys, they would go and take water whenever they would be thirsty. They would wash their hands, they would wash their feet, and they would drink this water. Suyavasa. Suyavasa means Durva grass. So Durva grass is generally used in all sacrificial ceremonies. That is also given by Govardhan. There are mango trees, pilu trees, which give such wonderful juicy fruits. Fragrant grass is growing on Govardhan, and all the cows and calves, they are getting nourished by this. Kandara Kanda Mulai, there are caves which are giving pleasure to Krishna. And on top of that, Govardhan is giving all the minerals, jewels, and everything for ornamenting the body. Govardhan stones, they are so very smooth and glistening, you can see your face like a mirror in that. So that's how when Krishna played his flute, all the Vrindavan and Govardhan was transformed. The living entities, moving entities become stunned, and non-living entities start trembling. So therefore, in this way, narrating the pastimes of Krishna, the gopis became absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna. So that is the end of the 21st chapter. 22nd chapter is the famous Chir Harana Leela, Krishna stealing the garments of the unmarried gopis. So now, after describing the attraction of gopis, so Chakravarti Thakur writes that actually in the Venukeet, Radharani was there. So Radharani, she was already married to Abhimanyu, some other Gopa. So Chakravarti Thakur writes that after describing the attraction of married gopis such as Radharani towards Krishna in the previous chapter, in the autumn season, now Shukdev Goswami is describing the unmarried. He is giving the description of unmarried gopis. And these gopis, they wanted to have Krishna as their husband because they were not yet married. So Shukdev Goswami starts the description. He says, Hemante prathame maase nanda braja kumarika cherur havishyam bhunjana katyayan archana pratam. So in the Marga Shirsha, first month of winter, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Masana Marga Shirshom. So this Marga Shirsha is a very, very dear month of Krishna. So when this Marga Shirsha arrived, so all the young unmarried gopis, they were very young, 5 or 6 years old, not much. So all these young unmarried gopis, they started performing this Katyayani Vrata. So Katyayani is a manifestation of goddess Durga. And Chakravarti Thakur and all the acharyas they explain that this Durga is not the external energy of the Lord. Because people generally they think that Durga means the Maya Devi, external Mahamaya. But Chakravarti Thakur describes that Durga is also a name for internal energy. So these gopis, they were worshipping Durga Devi, who is the internal energy of Krishna. So Hemante Prathame Mase, when this Margashirsha arrived, all the gopis, they started doing this Katyayani Vrata. And what they were eating? They were eating only non-spicy khichdi. That's all. It's very austere Vrata. So all the gopis every day, what they would do? They would go and take bath in Yamuna, and then they had made a deity of Katyayani out of sand. So deities can be made from different substances. It is described in the 11th canto. Shaili, Darumayi, Lohi, Lepya, Lekhya, Chasaikati, Manomayi, Manimayi, Pratima, Ashtadha, Smrita. So Krishna is telling that my deity form can be made from various metals, from wood, from sand, from stone, even in the mind, even from the jewels. So the gopis, they made the deity of Katyayani from sand. And they were worshipping Katyayani, this deity, with lots of aromatic substances, sandalwood pulp, and then various betel nuts, fruits, leaves, various fragrant substances. And in this way, they were worshipping Katyayani with one pointed desire. They wanted to have Krishna as their husband. And all these gopis, when they would worship, they would chant a mantra. Katyayani Mahamaye Mahayoginyadishwari Nanda Gopasutam Devi Patim Me Kurute Manaha Iti mantram japantyasta pujam chakru krumarika. So with this one pointed desire in the mind, Nanda Gopa Sutam Devi Patim Me Kuru. Let the Nand, the son of Nand Maharaj, Krishna, become our husband. So Chakravarti Thakur writes that, when Katyayani, if she may hear this request, she may say, but why are you making this request to me independently? I can fulfill this request only through your parents. I can inspire them. They will marry you to Krishna. They say, no. We don't want to have that anxiety. You are great yogini. You are most powerful. You should do something directly to unite us with Krishna. We don't want interference of our parents. Because Krishna has not become grown up so much, he has not received his Upnayan also. So, they will not marry us with Krishna. So, You do something so that Krishna may marry us in a Rakshasa style, you know. So that is how, or Gandharva style, sorry. So in this way, they were praying to Katyayani Devi. So in this purport, uh, it is described very nicely that nobody should think that, oh, gopis, they are worshipping demigods. We in ISKCON, we are completely against demigod worship. But the gopis are worshipping Katyayani, who is non-different from internal potency of Krishna. And of course, what she is asking, what they are asking from Katyayani, they are asking of Krishna as their husband. So even if you go to a devata with a desire to serve Krishna, just like we have heard in Bhagavatam, Prachetas, they worship Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva, he gave them the chance to practice pure devotional service. You know. So therefore, if you worship any devata with a desire to serve Krishna, that devata will guide you. Of course, there is no need to go and worship exclusively all these devatas, because we are getting a chance to worship Krishna directly. So gopis, they had only one thing in their mind. They wanted to serve Krishna. And with that desire, they were going to uh, Katyayani Devi. So in this way, gopis meditated whole month. 1 month they were meditating on Krishna and they were worshipping Katyayani Devi in this way. What they would do? Every morning they would get up. Early in the morning they would get up, take bath, and together, holding their hands, holding each other's hands, they would go singing the glories of Krishna, and they would go to the bank of Yamuna, take bath there, and they would worship the Katyayani Devi in this way. So one day, so Chakravarti Thakur writes, one day means on the last day of this vrata. So this incident of Chir Haran Leela happened on the last day of this vrata. And he says that actually all these gopis, because they had completed their vow, so all these gopis, they invited Srimati Radharani also to go with them. And Radharani and all the gopis, they went to on this bank of Yamuna to have the conclusion of their uh, Katyayani Vrata by taking a Avabhrit bath, as they say. Avabhrit means ceremonial bath, denoting the conclusion of the Vrata. Krishna is omniscient. Krishna is all-knowing. He knows the desires of the gopis. So we have to understand very clearly, Krishna, he was not like a lusty man, lusty boy. He was himself a 7 or 8 years old. And all these gopis, they were 5, 6 years old, small girls, young, small girls. There is no desire of, there is no lusty desire in the mind of Krishna or the gopis. So Krishna, he understood the desire of the gopis to have Krishna as their husband. So he that day took some of his small friends, 2, 3 years old. There were some gopas who were very young, 2, 3 years old, but they had such intense love for Krishna, they would never leave Krishna. So they would also go with Krishna wherever he would go. They were themselves naked, 2, 3 years old boys. So Krishna, he understood. Bhagavan stad abhipretya Krishno yogeshwareshwarah vayasyair avrtastatra gatas tat karma siddhaye. Bhagavan tat abhipretya Krishna, he understood the desires of the gopis, why the gopis were doing this vrata. They wanted Krishna as their husband. So he went there, surrounded by the friends, to this place. Krishna Yogeshwareshwaraha. Krishna is the master of all the mystic powers. He understood the desires of Krishna, of the gopis. Himself, he is completely transcendental. He had no material desires, no lusty desires in his mind. and therefore he went there just to fulfill the desires of the gopis. As he went there, quickly, because these gopis, earlier days, Prabhupada, this purport describes that the men's bathing ghat and the women's bathing ghat were different, and the women many times they would leave off all their clothes and they would enter the water naked. So Krishna quickly he took all the garments of girls who were put on the bank and he climbed the tree, Kadamba tree, and he started laughing very loudly. And just to tell all these gopis that, look, I have stolen all your clothes. So laughing very loudly, he drew the attention of the gopis towards him. So now Chakravarti Thakur gives the wonderful conversation which happens. So he says, he's telling to all the gopis, "Oh young girls of Braja, do you know who has put all these clothes on this tree branch?" So the gopis they say, "You have put, these are our clothes, and you know there is nobody, you must have put." He says, "No, no, I was coming from far, I saw that Kadamba, this branch of Kadamba has become very colorful. So I thought there are some flowers. So I came to see the beauty of this Kadamba tree." So gopis they say, "Arey, that they are our clothes. That cannot be. If they were yours, how did they get up high on the tree?" So they say, "You have stolen them." Krishna says, "Oh, are you blaming me? I am son of Nanda Maharaj. I am the son of king. Do you want me to? Do you want to blame me? I will go and complain to Kamsa." So the gopis they become little afraid. They say, "Don't get angry. Just look closely. They are our clothing." So Krishna says, "But how can I understand this? These are your clothings." So all these conversations are going on. So the gopis say, "Arey, we came here to do our puja and we were taking bath. Who else will come?" So Krishna say, "Oh, are you the only one who are coming in the forest? Huh? There are so many other ladies who must have come. How can I tell? How can I believe your words?" So the gopis are, "Hey, we don't speak lie. We are always saying truth." So in this way, the conversation is going on. So Krishna says, "Look, I am not joking because you are fatigued now. You have already done 1 month tapasya, eating only khichdi. You all must have become weak. So now you may come and you yourself take back your cloths and ornaments." So Chakravarti Thakur writes that gopis, when they heard this, they think, "We cannot go." You know, and Krishna says, "You must come individually, not in a group, because one woman may become greedy for more clothes." She is making fun. So the gopis are thinking, "Oh, we cannot go." Krishna starts laughing. "You believe my words. No, anyways you cannot do anything because you are very weak. I am very strong." Gopis say, "We cannot trust your words. You may cheat us." Krishna says, "Okay, I am speaking the truth, and if you don't believe me, let one of you come. And if I do something wrong, then others should not come." So gopis they say, "You are a liar. We cannot believe your words." Krishna says, "I have never spoken a lie in my life. Please come one by one and take your clothes." Gopis may say, "Arey, but you can throw off these clothes, or you can send your friends, small friends. They can come." Krishna says, "How will I identify whose cloth belongs to whom? How am I to know? So you come personally and take away your clothes." In this way, Krishna is not giving them the clothes. So the gopis, although they were being put in such an embarrassing situation, but they were so very absorbed in love for Krishna. They were joking among themselves. They did not come out. They started joking. One gopi said to other, you go and just see. We'll see if he plays tricks on you. If he doesn't do anything, then we'll also come." In this way, they started joking with each other. but still they were not coming out. And because they were submerged till their necks, they started trembling because it was winter. They started shivering. And the gopis, they started using Sam and Bhed. The gopis, they say, "Oh Krishna, you are such an honored personality. You are son of king of Braja. You are Sham Sundar. Please give us our clothes. We are your maid servants. We'll do whatever you say." You know, the gopis say, "But if you don't give us," then they use Bhed. "If you don't give us, we'll complain to the king, either Kamsa or Nanda." So Krishna says, "Okay, you have called yourself as my maid servants. Now prove your words. If you are my servants, come up and pick your clothes. Why are you making me angry? Even if the king of Vrindavan becomes angry, he cannot do anything to me." This is a conversation going on between the gopis. And the gopis, they start thinking, "Oh, now we have been defeated by our own words. We are servants of Krishna. So now we have to follow the words of Krishna." So they are thinking, "Let us go and get our clothes before some other man comes. It will be more embarrassing situation." So covering themselves with their hands, they come out and they rise from the cold water. And when Krishna, he saw that these gopis, they have given their everything to please me. For women of Vedic times, especially when far back Vedic times, it was their chastity. Generally, for a woman, chastity, their honor is more important than life. So gopis, although they were put in such embarrassing situation, it was like they were ready to give up their life. But because they all loved Krishna, they decided to give up everything, even their honor, to please Krishna. This is very, very interesting. We call gopis as the best of the devotees. You know, what is that verse? Aradhya Bhagwan Brajesh Tanaya Tadham Brindavanam Ramya Kajit Upasana Brajavadhu Varagenaya Kalpita. The love of gopis is the highest. You have to understand what gopis have done, it is unimaginable. We may get attached to our small, small conceptions, our ways of doing things, our conditionings, our likings. For gopis, they were ready to give up their everything, including their honor. They were ready to give up everything to serve Krishna. That is the unalloyed devotion which these gopis, they are showing. And Krishna, he was completely satisfied by their devotion. But just see now what Krishna is going to do. Krishna is thinking, let me test them further. Krishna is thinking, they have done something which is unimaginably difficult for any woman. But out of love for me, they have done everything. They have given up everything. Now let me see if they can do something more difficult. So now, Krishna is testing gopis even beyond their limits. So therefore, it is all these chapters, they show the extreme devotion of the gopis who are ready to give up their everything to please Krishna. Their respect, their honor, their chastity, everything. And it is very important that we as a sadhakas, when we are dealing with other devotees, many times we get stuck with our opinions, our preferences, our ways of doing things. If we cannot surrender at such a basic level, what to speak of surrendering everything in front of Krishna? So therefore, all these pastimes, they tell the superlative degree of devotion. But these should impel us to at least rise above our basic level. That we should learn to surrender our opinions, our desires, our preferences in front of the senior devotees. We should not be attached to the way we want to do things, but the way we are told to do. That is called beginning of surrender. Surrender is not the thing which comes immediately one day you get up in the morning. It is a constant practice which we have to do, starting from the basic things. Surrendering our ego. It is, you know, complete surrender, it is unimaginable, but at least we have to start somewhere. So Krishna is thinking, I have seen the amount of love these gopis have for me, and therefore he was so very happy, he was smiling. But Krishna wanted to test them further. He said, "O gopis, you have committed an offense against the devatas because you are bathing naked, and we should not take bath naked in the river body. So you have committed offense to the devatas. Now you should offer your obeisances and ask for forgiveness by keeping your palms folded, and put your folded palms on your heads." So gopis, when they heard this, they became very afraid. Oh, we have done 1 month of tapasya, and now because of this offense, we will not get the result. We will not get Krishna as our husband. They became afraid. So they were thinking, no, we don't want to spoil our vow at the cost of our modesty. We are ready to give up our modesty, but we don't want to spoil the results of our vow. We want Krishna as our husband. So therefore, desiring to get Krishna as their husband and desiring to successfully complete their vow, they offered their obeisances. Because they were thinking that, oh, Krishna told that I am Narayan. You know, Gargacharya said that I am same as Narayan, you offer obeisances to me. So all the gopis, they offered their obeisances. So it is described in the purport that in this incident, the gopis, they were ready to give up the highest standards of morality by raising their hands on their head and completely surrendering in front of Krishna. But we have to understand there is no tinge of lust in all this pastime. It is complete pastime which is happening under the purview of pure, unalloyed devotion. There is no discrepancy in religious principle here. Krishna appeared and he tested the gopis just to show to the whole world the glorious position of the gopis. And when the gopis they surrendered, Krishna gave back their garments. He was feeling very satisfied and happy. Interestingly, although the gopis they were humiliated, they were, you know, cheated, they were deprived of their modesty, they were insulted, ridiculed, they were made to act like dolls, but still, amazingly, even after they put on their garments, they did not move from their place. Drida pralabdha tripaya cha pita prastobhita क्रीडनवच्चकारिताः वस्त्राणि चैव परितान्यथाप्यमुं तानाभ्यसूयन् प्रियसङ्गनिर्वृताः. They were pralabdha, they were cheated, they were deprived of their modesty. Prastobhita, they were ridiculed, they were made like dolls. They were, you know, their clothes were stolen, but still, when they got their clothes back, they were so very satisfied being in the company of Krishna. They became so very joyful to have the opportunity to be with Krishna. Prabhupada writes, it is described in the purport. The attitude of this gopi is, all these gopis is described by Lord Chaitanya. Ashilishva padaratam pinashtumam adarshanan maramhatam karotuva yatha tatha va vidhatu lampato mat prananathastu saeva naparaha. Whatever you do with me, O my Lord, either you keep me near you or you kick me, you are my Lord, life after life. So therefore, it is very, very important because these gopis, they had such intense love for Krishna. The suffering which they went through, it was nothing for the gopis. तोमार सेवाय दुख होए जत सेयो तो parama sukha. Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes, my Lord, whatever pains I am going through in your service, that is the cause of my greatest ecstasy. As a result of all these, gopis, what they were thinking, they concluded, they interpreted the whole incident in such a wonderful way. These gopis, they were already addicted and captivated by the beauty of Krishna, and therefore they did not move. And they interpreted that Krishna is also attached to us. Otherwise, why he would come? Why he would take all this trouble of coming here and behaving with us in all these wonderful ways? So that's how they became all the more absorbed in devotion to Krishna. Even after putting on their clothes, they stood there as if they were prepared for marriage. That's what Jiva Goswami says. Krishna, he understood the determination of these gopis. All the gopis, they wanted to touch the lotus feet of Krishna. The gopis, Krishna told them, "O gopis, I understand your motives, and your desires will be fulfilled in coming days. In coming nights, I'll fulfill your desires in the form of Ras Leela." So therefore, Krishna says that if somebody comes to me with impure motives, I make them pure. What to speak of you? You have come to me with the pure motive to serve me. So therefore, your devotion is glorious. Namaya vishatadhyam kama kamaya kalpate bharjita kvathita dhana prayo bijaya neshate. Krishna says, the desires of those whose minds are fixed on me, na mai aveshit dhiya. Anybody who fixes his desire on me, he cannot have any material desires. Kamah na kamah kamaya kalpate. He cannot have any material desires. Just like if you take a barley corn and you roast it and then put it in the ground, it will not grow. Similarly, anybody who serves me, he becomes free from all the materialistic desires. And then Krishna, he tells, "Oh girls, now go back to Braja. All your desires are fulfilled, and in coming days you will enjoy with me." And then Krishna, he entered the Vrindavan along with his cowherd friends. And he started glorifying the trees of Vrindavan. Beautiful, beautiful verses come. This is the beginning of the description where Krishna is going to give mercy to all the patnis of Brahmanas, Dvija patnis. So Krishna, with all his friends, Stok Krishna, Balaram, Sridama, Subala, Arjuna, Varuthapa, Vishala, Vrishabhanu, Ojaswa. Krishna is going with all these cowherd friends to Vrindavan. And then he's looking at the beauty of Vrindavan. He's glorifying the trees. Now it is summer season. Katyayani was in winter. Now it is summer season. Pashyaitan mahabhagan pararth aikant jivitan vatvarsha tapahiman sahanto varayantinah. Very famous verse. Krishna is showing the trees to all the cowherd friends. Pashya. Pashya means just see. Just see these trees of Vrindavan. They are mahabhagan. They are most fortunate. Generally, trees are considered to be very of a low species. Because of their sinful life, they have got such a birth. But Krishna is saying, oh, just see, they are Mahabhagan. Any living entity in Vrindavan is Mahabhagan. Pashyaitan Mahabhagan. Parartha ekant. Arey, they are living only for others. दूसरों के लिए जी रहे हैं. What they are going through? Vat, Varsha, Tap, Himan, Sahanto. They are tolerating wind, intense heat, cold, everything they are tolerating rains, but they don't retaliate. They protect us. They themselves undergo all the pain, but they protect us. अहो येषां वरं जन्म सर्वप्राणि उपजीवनम सुजनस्येव येषां वै विमुखा यान्ति नार्थिनः. Are these trees? They are like saintly people. Yesham varam janma, their birth is successful. Amazing. Krishna is glorifying the trees in such a way. Their birth is successful. Sarva prani upajivanam, they are maintaining every living entity. Sujanasyeva, they are like saintly people. Sadhuon ki tarah hai. Anybody who comes to them, they never go empty handed. They never go disappointed. What all things are giving, these trees are giving? पत्र पुष्प फल छाया मूल वल्कल दारुभि गंध निर्यास भस्मास्ति तोक्मयि कामान वितन्वते. Patra, leaves, pushpa, flowers, fruits, shadow, mool means the roots, valkala, bark, darubhi, wood, gandha, fragrance, sap, ashes, shoots, they are giving everything. Whatever you desire, the trees are giving. This is successful life. Very famous verse, very, very powerful verse. Now Krishna is going to speak. एतावत् जन्म साफल्यम देहिनामिह देहिषु प्राणैरर्थैर्धिया वाचा श्रेय आचरणम सदा. Are I cannot do all these things, Baba. Krishna is saying, do something. Etavat janma safalyam. Anybody who has taken birth, every living being, it is their duty to perform some welfare activity. What is the welfare activity I can do? Give your life. अरे life नहीं दे सकते. प्राण दे दो. नहीं, प्राण नहीं. Artha, give wealth. Wealth also I cannot give. Give some intelligence. Use your intelligence to help people. At least use your words. Pranair, arthair, dhiya, vacha, shreya, acharanam. Use your all faculties in service of all the humanity. So in this way, as Krishna is moving along along the trees, Krishna came to the Yamuna river, and all the boys, they let the cows drink the nectarine water of Yamuna. They themselves drank the water. They became very satisfied. And Chakravarti Thakur writes that this day, these boys, they had not brought their yogurt and rice. Yogurt rice, it seems it was a favorite food for all the cowherd boys. It comes in the Brahma Vimana Leela also. Vame pano masran kavalam tat phalani angulishu. So because these cowherd boys, they had not brought their lunch today, they were feeling hungry. So all these cowherd boys, they went to Krishna and Balram and they spoke. Abruptly, this chapter ends here. Why? Because Shukdev Goswami starts remembering all the pastimes which are about to come. He becomes stunned again. That's why the chapter ends abruptly here. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Krishna Bhagwan ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So anybody has any questions, you can please ask. Why did Gopas not allow gopis to serve Krishna? Gopis are complaining about their husbands. See, all these are the pastimes which are orchestrated in such a way to increase the rasa of the Parakiya Bhav. So all the Gopas, they are also great devotees, but just to increase the flavor of the Parakiya Bhav. So all these Gopas, they speak in such a way or behave in such a way. Everything, whatever is happening in Vrindavan, it is just to increase the rasa of love. Loving in different rasas. That's why all these things are being spoken. Okay. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.